here with Slidell High coach Larry Favre. Coach, this will be, I picked you to win the district, but we've been down this road before. I remember 2 years ago, we were sitting in that room right over there. Wayne Griffin's back for his 17th year as the quarterback. So many things coming back.
Right.
This is the year. It's year 5, My first question to you is, as a coaching staff, what did you learn from that 2 years ago to where you hope you don't fall into the same pitfalls this season? What did you learn from that experience 2 years ago, maybe?
Well, we're not really here for predictions. We're just here to get better every day, but certainly we're really excited about this group. This is the best culture we've had. It's the best group of kids. We just got a great group of kids. They're fun to be around. We're having a lot of fun. It's a real positive workplace, a real positive locker room, no one should have more expectations for us than we have for ourselves. And I think we do have high expectations for ourselves, but we have to go prove it this fall. And 2 years ago seems so far away now, and we're very much tuned into what we have in 2018.
Is there a bitter taste or in your mouth from how last year ended, or is it more, this is a new year, we're focused on this year? Do you use last year, how it ended, as motivation? How does that work?
It has to be. I've told everybody it's 2 worlds: best record in 11 years, first home playoff game in 11 years, but then you lose 27-24 when you were winning 24-7 at the half. No, it's been our sole motivation this whole off season. We left a real bad taste in our mouths, and we know we've used it in everything. From when we started back in January, it's been about correcting that and learning how to finish, and knowing that we did not end it the way we were supposed to, and that we were supposed to keep playing last year. And it's been our sole motivation for this year, so that when we get there again this year, we can respond differently.
It all starts at quarterback, regardless of who the football team is. With 1 year of starting experience under his belt now, how is Jacob Guidry better on and off the field from junior to senior year?
He has really grown as a young man. He's grown in the classroom, he's grown off the field, and he's grown in our program. He's had a great summer in our 7-on-7s. Last year he was more apt to go to his first read. If it wasn't there, tuck and go. And this year we think he's going to be able to sit in the pocket, go through his progressions, and make the pocket throw. And still can hurt you if he leaves out on his feet. So he's really matured a lot. He really has. I'm really proud of him. We've seen ownership. We've seen maturity, leadership. And those still areas we will continue to work on. We've seen that, but he's had a great summer in the 7-on-7, and at times he has been the best player on the field, and he'll need to be that for us to be successful this fall.
It's hard to really put a position on Tito Simmons, because he's somebody you could give the ball to 20 times in the backfield, or he's somebody you can give the ball to in space. What have you learned as a coaching staff to maybe take more advantage of his talents? Do you feel like you've got an understanding of how we want to use him on the offensive side of the ball better maybe than last year?
Well, he's our lead and returning rusher. He's our lead and returning receiver. So it's hard to, how do you improve on that input? And the thing is, he's been our feature guy now for his 4th year, and he'll continue to be that. He's our guy. Everything goes through Tito. He's the guy. He's our leader. He's our stat guy. Tito Simmons is Slidell High, so our offense. So we just got to continue to do with that. But he's had a great offseason. And, I think he's going to be better at finishing plays than maybe he was the last 3 years. But the ball's still going to go through him. He's still going to get his 20, 25 touches a game everywhere we can on the field, slot, outside receiver, back, wildcat if we had to. We can put him so many places. I'm just so proud of him, and he's going to finish what he started here. He's going to be a 4-year starter, 4-year letterman, and I'm just really, really proud of Tito.
Harlan gives you that maybe different kind of more power. If Tito's going to run through you or around you and try to make you miss, Harlan can kind of sometimes run over you. What kind of, role do you see for him this year, and what does he bring to your team offensively?
What we're going to need a little different from Harlan, because he definitely can do it out of the backfield. And he's bigger and stronger. I think he's got to be one of the top 20 kids in the area. I told him today he's a man, and to be so young. He's just physically has developed so well in the off season. But he's also, we can play him at receiver. So with Tito and Harlan, we can put them really at any position in the offense. In slot, outside receiver, and we will use Harlan. If we can get a mismatch at an outside receiver position because of Harlan's 6'1" and his basketball skills. So they give us so much flexibility. And then when you have a dual threat kid in Guidry, it just gives you, it gives Coach Arno, Coach Flop, our offensive coordinator, just gives him so many options. And we can be so multiple, and that's a good problem to have.
We know about that set of triplets, those 3 players. But tell me some of the other skill position players that fans are going to get to see that you're going to have to count on. You can't just count on 3 kids to do all your offensive stats.
No, Jordan Smith will be one of our outside receiver. He'll be a junior. Has just crushed it this summer in the 7-on-7. Really good athlete. So he's going to be an outside receiver to give us an up the field threat, which you got to have. Brandon Spann and Kevin Boatner will be in the H-back tight end position, and they'll give us play action threats and some threats across the field. And then Tyler Harris, who's one of our basketball stars, is back, and so he just excelled as a freshman. And now we get Tyler in the offense with all these other threats. Wow, we're just so excited that we can put some really good athletes 4 or 5 different spots across the field.
None of this is going to happen, and none of this is possible unless you get time and you get holes up front. Talk to me about the offensive line.
That's what we're the most excited about. Our offensive line coach, Brandon McCullum, just does an unbelievable job. We have 3 starters back: center Chaz Birchfield, guard Quentin Dawson, and tackle David Harrod. They're 3 seniors to go along with Guidry and Simmons and Spann and Harris. So those are all seniors. And then we have sophomore Gabe Carbajal, 6'5", 260 sophomore at a tackle. Cameron Riles was our deep snapper, started last year as a center. Will play the other guard position, senior. So we think we can. We ran the ball really well in the spring, and we think we can run the football and because of what Coach McCullum does with that group and the group back. So we have 7 starters back, 3 on the offensive line. The H-back Kevin Boatner back. They're all seniors. And with the great job that Coach Flop does as our OC, we think we can have a lot of fun on offense this year.
I don't want to be negative Nancy here, but how does it, with all this talent and all the senior and veteran talent, it's not like, oh my gosh, I'm nervous because it's the first time I'm doing this. How does it not work? Like, seriously, as a coaching staff, what's your fear of, if this happens, I'm worried? Like, tell me how it doesn't work.
Injuries and making sure you keep everybody happy. Touches, right? Because you have so many guys that want the football. I mean, and you got so many guys you got to get the football too. So got to be unselfish. You got to winning. It's about winning and not about touches and stats. And
winning solves it all.
Winning solves it all. So that's the only 2 ways, I think, is if you get some injuries and or selfishness. But this is the most unselfish group we've had. Great, as I said earlier, great culture, so I don't see that happening. And we've got some depth, so that's a good thing. But that's not a problem. That's a good thing.
All right. So for the people watching this video, Matt Forte was not that highly recruited coming out of high school. So forget about what I'm about to say here. Switching over to defense, Ishmael Burdine may be the most highly recruited player at this school since Reggie Cooper. Talk to me about how you can use him to be the best player and help Slidell High the most. Where do you see him using him throughout the defense this year?
First of all, what Ish and his family did in bringing all of that focus and attention in every major university back to Slidell High School, the way they've handled it, the way they've helped open up doors for other kids in the program that'll be seniors this year and our underclassmen. Wow, we just owe them so much because they've handled it and they've just been great ambassadors for this school and for the future and for now. And so that they've already done that. Ish has got to be the leader, and he is every day. You're the player that gets all that attention, the player that draws that kind of interest has to be the guy that's the first to work every day, and Ishmael has done that. And he's the voice. He is the lead. He hasn't gotten all that attention and not backed it up. He backs it up every day in our locker room, on our practice field, and in our weight room. And he's just such an exciting player. He gives us great flexibility. Again, we can, if we're playing, we can use his athleticism as a safety, and he could be the quarterback back there if we play a team that's kind of balanced and we need him to run downhill and make plays. Or if we find a team that has a really stud receiver, we can put him out there and say, you go take care of that by yourself, as he did last year as a junior. And then we can use him in our return games, and our kickoff return and our punt return. So, he gives us such multiplicity there. And
his use is basically based on what you're going up against.
We can game planning week to week, and we did that in some 7-on-7s this summer. Late in the game, the only way they can beat us is to go to this receiver or Ish go take him.
Gotcha.
And he loves that. He asks for that. He's going to come to you and say, let me do that. And that's fun.
It's interesting because a side effect of having a player that good means if I'm an opposing team, I'm not throwing him his way. I'm not throwing his way. You got to throw some way. So other defensive backs are going to get plenty of opportunities and get plenty of balls thrown at him. We're going to work our way backwards to front. Talk to me about some of the other secondary players that are going to have to step up because they're going to get more action because no one's going to want to throw at Ish.
Well, the one senior is Jerry Thompson, was the opposite corner of Ishmael last year. And so he's always been that other guy, right? And he's just excelled. Probably one of my MVPs of the off season in our weight room. He got on the track and ran with our other guys, and then he is just, even as recently as last week at the St. Amant State Championships, he just loves that now. So Jerry Thompson is the returning corner opposite Ish. No one ever talks about him, but he has really grown into that role. But if we play Ish at safety, then that leaves junior Kylan Franklin as the other corner. We have some sophomores we really like, and that is where we're going to get tested. That is where the schools are going to look to go. We open up with Destrehan, who have 5 D1 at all their skill position, 2 6-foot-plus receivers, plus 3 of the best backs in the state. We're going to find out real early how this works. But Jerry Thompson is someone that'll there. And then it goes underneath to Dante Daniels, our junior outside linebacker, and Markeegan Gray, sophomore outside linebacker. And so they're going to get tested as well. But those guys can all run. All of those guys were on the track for us. We have great defensive team speed. We're going to be able to run to the football, and those guys will hit when they get there. But certainly there's some uncertainty there.
Linebacking core.
Well, we have all-district Kobe Pettis, first-team all-district Kobe Pettis, heart and soul of our team. Definitely will be one of our captains. Great kid, leading tackler, leading returning tackler. So we're good there, but then everything in front of him and beside him is inexperience. Anthony Chadwick, will be a junior, will get a chance to be the other inside backer. And then all across the front, we're young and new. We lost our entire defensive line. And so Blake Simmons, who was always been an inside backer, has to go to a DN. And Tristan Lear, who's always been an inside backer, has to go to DN. Athletic kids, great kids, seniors, get them on the field, but maybe not their natural positions. And then it's up to Marcus Candiff and juniors, Matt Retief and Cameron Williams to play the tackle positions. So, they're all new. They're playing out of position, some of them. Junior Solomon Hartley will also be in that mix. Really good athletes, but inexperienced and maybe a little undersized, but we're going to be able to run. So, that's the question mark. Defensive line and those corners, and that's the question mark coming in. And once again, right away to go against Destrehan, who's probably has the best skill guys in the state on offense. We're going to find out real fast.
In your head, what's the list of, on both sides of the ball, if we do this, I like our chances to be successful? Do you have a set lit, like a bullet list of, if we can do this, this, and this, I like our chances?
Well, certainly the concern is the middle of the defense, right? The defensive line. Kobe Pettis is inside. Chadwick is the other inside guy. I like our perimeter speed. I like our athleticism in the secondary. Can we handle people that are going to come right at us?
Like a Destrehan with Emory.
Right. Or some of the teams in our district. So that's the concern there. Offensively, just stay healthy. We've got to just be able to stay healthy. Our kicker, Josh Wills, is back. Our all-district punter, Marcus Candiff, is back. Our 4-year starter at deep snapper, Cameron Riles, is back. I think we have athletes that will go down and play. I think we have good return guys. But, we got to do it all again. So special teams could really be maybe a breaker for us, or one way or the other. It could make us or it could break us if we're not as good. So special teams is going to play a really big part in all this. We have everybody back, but we have to repeat the success we had last year.